Back End by John Osborne. It was published in May 8, 1956. Okay, you already have the information. So, what is this? Play, novel, poem, what?
Play.
It's a play. Okay. So if it's a play and if it's an individual book, so how can I write it down? Like, will I have to give some inverted commas or italic or what? Underline. And when you are typing, you have to make it italic. Okay. Okay. So let's see the main characters. You already know the names. Tell me three names. Addison, Claire, Jamie.
Can we use blue pen for highlight the title? For example, blue packing angle. Yeah. When we are going to write this title, so can we use blue pen for highlight this title?
No, yes, sir. No. Why would you? No, you don't have to. You will write it and then you will just underline it. I will know that this is the title. Okay? So Jimmy Porter, and then Allison, the brother of Jimmy.
No, why?
Okay. Allison Porter, and then Louis Baby. Then comes Helena. These are the main characters, okay? Jimmy is the husband of Allison, and Cliff is the friend of Jimmy, okay? Jimmy is the man whom I say that the angry young man, do you remember? Why angry young man? Angry young man of 20th century. What is the meaning of that?
Because he belongs to the
Angry young man is
middle class.
newspaper?
Because he belongs to the middle
Yes,
class.
ma'am.
Middle class, yes, educated, came from
Middle class.
came from
lower
working class. Yes, and
Also hate higher class.
okay.
High class and higher class.
Okay, lower class. Hates the past and future. Okay, and finds responsible. He always finds the rich people responsible for their distresses. Okay, so that's why they actually hate the
And
rich
also
people. Talkative, depressed. Okay, wants to live the life, but the situation is not supporting him.
And men dominant.
Masculine, like he's having some masculine traits, like women are misogynist. Okay, doesn't like the woman. So we'll see the characters. Jimmy Porter is the protagonist, the angry young man, university educated but delusioned, working class man. So disillusioned means I mentioned that one. Disillusionment or disillusioned. Illusion means Romo. Okay. Yes. So what is the disillusionment or disillusioned? Reality. Okay. Okay. So the real working class man runs a sweet stall. So which means he is having a stall, a shop. Okay, sweet shop. With his friend Cliff. Sarcastic, bitter, and verbally aggressive. Bitter means who speaks bad words. Okay, attacking words. Yes. And he is aggressive verbally. Verbally aggressive. It means he is not physically aggressive. He doesn't beat someone. Okay, verbally he maybe insults. Especially towards his wife Alison. Angry at the British class system. So it's angry at the British class system, like aristocrats and working class, this kind of stuff. Hypocrisy, British working class hypocrisy, and emotional repression. All these are hated by Jimmy and represents the frustrated post-war youth of 1950s England. So he is a universal character from that period. Okay, so he represents the frustrated post-war youth of 1950s. Post-war. What did I say? Post-war. So I say that things were like everywhere there was disruption and distraction. There was lack of employment. Okay. So if there is wars, then infrastructures will be destroyed. People will lose the work, okay, workplaces. So, and there were lack of many things. I said lack of social norms, ethics, lack of religious beliefs, and lack of money, lack of sources of employment. Okay, so people were frustrated, especially the youths. So he represents this youth class. And then comes Alison Porter, wife of Jimmy Porter. He belongs to upper middle class. Okay, Jimmy's wife from an upper middle class military family. Passive. What is meaning of passive? Quiet, emotionally reserved. Like she doesn't talk much, or she thinks that if I even express my
Like neutral type.
No, in the other way.
Introvert.
Neutral type.
Same thing in other way.
I don't think so. I think she's kind of there's no use of expressing any emotion. Like Jimmy will always end up insulting her, so it's better to stay silent. So it's something like that. Becomes the target of the Jimmy's constant criticism because he is from upper middle class. Jimmy thinks that I have faced the struggles of life, but you are from upper middle class. You have never faced that, so you have never seen the life. Okay, the real struggling life. Okay. Represents the emotion and class conflict in marriage. So if people from two classes are in a marriage, then what happens? What kind of consequences happens? In that century, obviously, now things are different. So in that century, that's represented by her. Jimmy during the play, but later returns after a personal tragedy. Okay, so leaves Jimmy during the play, but it's like if I talk about their consequences of their marriage, then it's a personal thing. But their characters, their traits, their way of expressing the emotions, these are universal for that period. Okay, then Cliff Lewis, Jimmy's close friend and co-worker, they all together work in the stall, sweet stall. Easygoing, what is the meaning of easygoing? Like সব জায়গায় মানায় না, ঠিক আছে? Opposite of Jimmy. Jimmy is always like, this should be like this, this should be like that, why it is like this, okay?
Is it not in the way?
Okay, kind, humorous, and acts as a peacemaker between Jimmy and Allison. Okay, lives with Jimmy and Allison, forming a kind of love triangle through mostly platonic, represents human warmth and decency. It's not like they are having a relationship, a third wheel in a relationship. It's not like that. He was the representative of both parties. Like he wanted to make sure they are happy. Okay, there was no personal involvement. It was not like I love Allison, I want her as my wife. It was not like that. It was like I love Allison, and I want Allison to be happy with Jimmy because I love Jimmy too. Okay, so it's a friendly, like human relationship. Okay, like আমরা যেটা করি কারো ভালো সম্পর্ক ভালো দেখতে ভালো লাগে, ঠিক আছে, ভালো রাখতে ভালো লাগে। He was something like that. Okay. Helena Charles, Allison's friend, and আমরা হেলেনাকে মাত্র দেখেছিলাম, এসেছে when we were reading this. So Helena Charles is Allison's friend and also from an upper class background. Initially disapproves of Jimmy, but later has an affair with him, encourages Allison to leave Jimmy, and later feels guilty. Represents moral hypocrisy and emotional confusion. So I will tell you the summary that you will understand this context. And then comes Colonel Redfern. He is Allison's father, a retired army officer, kind and decent, but emotionally distant. Represents the old generation and British imperial values. Okay, so he was of different kind. He was not from middle class. Okay, he was kind of aristocrat, holding a government position. Admits his own sense of disillusionment with the past. Okay. And then comes Huck Tanner. He was mentioned in the book when the first time Jimmy and Allison eloped from the house. They were not, they didn't have any social marriage. Okay, তারা ঘর থেকে পালায় যেয়ে বিয়ে করছিল, ঠিক আছে? At that time, they after marriage they went to Huck Tanner where they were living with that person. for several days. Jimmy's friend who went to America represents the lost hopes of their idealism. And then this woman is the mother of Huck's Jenner. So this woman Jimmy respects deeply. তো যখন ওরা একসাথে থাকছিল তখন তার মায়ের প্রতি জিমির একটা হিউজ একটা সম্মান তৈরি হয়, ঠিক আছে? So this represents symbolizing working class dignity. So sometimes the British culture used to think that respect is related to the aristocrat or upper middle class people. So he represents that even the working class, some of them, okay, have the dignity. Okay, so she represents that. Okay, let me tell you the summary. Before that, you tell me the summary of the portion that we have already completed. What happened? It was Sunday. Jimmy and Cliff, they were at home. Yes, they were having some good time, taunting each other, disturbing each other, and he was constantly verbally abusing and saying aggressive stuff to the Allison, right? And then what happened? And what was Allison doing? She was ironing and ironing and ironing. Okay. Yes, she was ironing. And then what happened? Jimmy and Cliff, they were having some, fun. Children যেমন করে, ধরে কুস্তাকুস্তি করে, ঠিক আছে? It was something like that, and they
Sounds like
actually,
flirting.
huh?
Flirting with
Fighting. Yeah, they were fighting. Fun fighting. Okay, and then they actually, Alison was ironing, and Jimmy especially, they fell on the iron table, and what happened? Burned the hand of Alison. And then Jimmy says sorry, but Alison is for the very first time angry at Jimmy and says that I don't want to see you. And then Cliff consoles and comforts Alison with some bandages, okay, and sweet words. And Alison says that I'm pregnant. I'm afraid to say that to Jimmy. Maybe he will get angry. And then what did Cliff say? What was Cliff's suggestion? Wait, I have to say. What is it? Huh? Cliff says that you should definitely say that to Jimmy because Jimmy loves you. He will not be angry. Okay. And then Jimmy comes and says that Alison is kissing the Cliff is kissing the forehead of Alison. So it's okay with Jimmy. Jimmy was not jealous. Jimmy was not, and it was shown as a very normal thing. Okay, but with the audience, we feel it odd. Okay, this represents the 20th century ethics, moral and ethical degradations. Okay, societal structures change, relationship standards change. Okay, and then what happens is there was a phone call, and Alison said that it was her friend Helena, and Helena said she's coming to stay with them for a few days. And the moment Helena comes, Jimmy gets angry because he believes that Helena is the only responsible person who will take Alison away from Jimmy. Okay, and then this is what happens. Helena writes a letter to Colonel Redford, whom he says that your daughter is in such a miserable condition and she is pregnant. You should take her from here. And then that man comes. Okay, and Helena and Alison is about to go for a church. Okay, church visit. And then Jimmy says, you don't have to go to church. Please come with me because that woman. Remember this Tanner's mother? Okay, Hal Tanner's mother. She was very ill. So Jimmy said, this woman looked after us when we were in distress. So she's ill. Definitely we should go for that. Don't go to church. Come with me. But Alison said, no, I will go with my friend because she was brainwashed by Helena already. And she went to the church where she met the father, and father took her. Okay, and Alison was surprised to see that Helena is about to stay here with Jimmy and leave because she was here for some work and it's not completed. Okay, isn't it odd? You are in your friend's home, your friend is not there, her husband's friend is there, and you are staying with them in the absence of your friend. This is really odd, right? So though Alison was surprised, but she has to go because she was angry with Jimmy and she was afraid that Jimmy previously Jimmy said that I wish you had a child and he would die, and then you will understand what is struggle like I felt for the whole life. So she was afraid that she will lose the child, and that's why she went. And after that, we can see that in the next act, we see that Helena is living here, and Helena is taking care of Jimmy's clothes. Okay, washing them, drying them, ironing them. Okay, just like Alison. And then Jimmy comes and says that you are the person who is responsible, who took my wife away from me. Okay, and then he was verbally abusing the Helena, and then Helena slapped him. It was a shock for Jimmy. He's a man with masculine traits. Okay, strong man, and he was surprised. And then Helena starts to kiss Jimmy passionately. This is where we can see that Helena is hypocrite. She actually wanted this husband, and that's why he did all that. Okay, and then they started living like that. And one day, Helena was expressing her love to Jimmy and was saying that I definitely love you. I want to stay with you forever. Jimmy was definitely angry. And then Alison comes, sees that, and Alison understands that it was all about a personal thing. Okay, Helena really wanted to take Alison's place. That's why all this happened. Alison said that I am forgiving you. I've lost my child, so I'm really sad. I just want Jimmy back. And after hearing that, Jimmy's first reply was not to Alison. Jimmy said to Helena that girls like you can never stand in front of me. Like তোমার মতো মেয়ে আমার সামনে টিকতেই পারবে না। টিকতে পারবে না বলতে এখানে conspiracy বোঝাচ্ছে। You conspired against me and my wife, and women like you, hypocrite women like you, can never defeat me. So my wife is here. And then they start to live together without any quarrel, without any saying that why you kissed Helena, why did you accept that? Okay, isn't it odd? Is it possible? Is it possible in this society?
Not in this society, it can be possible in Western society.
Yet the wife will be angry, obviously. Children won't it will definitely happen. Okay, so we can see the moral and ethical differences from our perspective. Like we cannot even imagine this kind of stuff. That husband's friend is kissing the wife, so it's odd. Okay, so more or less this was the summary, and we will see the main themes. Is there any confusion in this summary? Okay, no, this is clear. Maybe we have just this class and the class of tomorrow. That's why I have to make it short, because we have to revise 3 poems also. Okay, and we have to revise that in the next class. So we have to run. Okay, so these are the themes. So anger, obviously, anger of 20th century young man, angry young man, and disillusionment is reality. Yes, middle class. Central. Okay, it's centered on Jimmy Porter's character. He's angry with society. Like he angry. He's angry with society, with upper class, and emotional repression, like the British culture. It's like I will not express anything. Alison represents that. Okay, she is not emotionally expressive. She is not expressing what she is feeling, and she never did. Okay, so this is British culture, and he doesn't like it. Jimmy was like, whatever I feel, I will talk, I will speak. That's why he is talking too much, expressing all the emotions he had. His anger represents the frustration of the post-war generation who felt betrayed by a stagnant and unjust system. As I said, that they were being educated with the hope to be in the higher class or to hold a better job. Okay, so after the system didn't suggest that, they were feeling that the British system, the whole system is, what should I say? They have betrayed us. Okay. And then class conflict. ঘরের ভিতরেই দেখা যাচ্ছে জিমি পোর্টার and Alison Porter, Jimmy from working class and Alison for upper middle class. And much of Jimmy's bitterness comes from being socially and culturally excluded despite his education. So he was like, I'm educated, though I'm not from rich class. My background is from working class, but still I'm educated. I should be treated equally like the aristocratic people because I'm educated. With education, I'm equal to them. Okay. But as he is from the working class, there was a difference. Okay, he was feeling that yes, he was culturally and socially excluded for being, even for being educated and for being from working class. The play explores the invisible barriers between classes, even within intimate relationships. Okay, so let alone your relationship with your neighbor, who is from upper class and maybe you're from working class. But it's not like you were having a class distinction in bazaars or in your area. It was like you are feeling class distinction in your bedroom also. Okay, with your intimate persons, like with your wife, friend. Emotional repression and expression. So Jimmy expresses raw, unfiltered. So really unfiltered, like আমরা যখন পড়েছি আমরা দেখেছি যে একটু বেশি ফিল্টার ছাড়া কথা বলে ঠিক আছে so he was like I will express everything that I have. I don't want to repress my feelings. Jimmy expresses raw unfiltered emotions. Alison and others suppresses their feelings leading to emotional disconnection. Okay, Jimmy believes in speaking and that's how if you share the emotions then we will have a connection, but Alison thinks the opposite. The play critiques a society that values emotional silence over honesty. Okay, emotional silence over honesty. Like Alison should have said to me that I'm pregnant and I'm afraid to say that to you. Will you be angry? And then she should have seen the reaction. Maybe it would be different. Okay, but she was afraid and she said that to Cliff and took suggestion what should I do. And she said that to the father. She said that to Helena, but not to Jimmy. Okay, so there was a misconnection. Marriage and domestic struggle. The tension in Jimmy and Alison's marriage reflects deeper conflicts, gender roles, class difference. So this conflict between Jimmy and Alison, it represents many things. Like first of all, it's about class conflict, and then it comes about male and female. Jimmy was again and again saying that women are like this, women are like that. Okay, it gives a misogynistic vibe. Okay, so it was about gender conflict. And then emotional themes. The home is not a refugee but a battleground. What is the meaning of refugee? Like kothao ashroy ground. Home is the safest refugee for you, right?
So, for example, Rohingyas staying in Bangladesh as a refugee, as a settler, refugee camp.
Yes, they are like feeling safe. Refugee is all about feeling safe. So what is the opposite of safe place? Safety.
Oh.
It's battlefield. Opposite. Synonym. Opposite. So it's battlefield. So this home is more like a battleground because of these tensions. Tension will keep track. Kind of chavela, conflict, okay, confusion, this. Okay, and then comes নিচে যাবে PDF গুলো এমন হচ্ছে কোথায় চলে গেল Okay, loss of purpose and identity. Jimmy felt there are no causes worth fighting for, and this leads to boredom, rage, and meaninglessness. Like Jimmy is like, if I fight with anyone, it will have no use. Like we will see a line by Jimmy. I hate Sundays like poison. Tisha, I hate Sundays like poison. Nobody thinks, nobody cares, no beliefs, no convictions, and no enthusiasm. Just another Sunday evening. So it's like life had no meaning. Okay, no one is emotionally someone else. Okay, no one is thinking, no one is caring, no one believes anything. Okay, so there was loss of purpose and identity. Reflects the existential crisis of the young in 1950s Britain. What is existentialism? Like just living in the present, not having any ties of the past or hope for future. Okay, just living in the present. I want to do this, I'm just doing this. There is no thought behind doing anything. Okay. Okay, alienation and loneliness. Despite being together, Alison, Jimmy, and Cliff, all of them were alone, alienated. Okay, they were in their own world. So despite being surrounded by people, Jimmy is emotionally isolated. Other characters like Alison and Helen also feel disconnected and powerless in their personal lives. The past versus present. Jimmy criticizes both the romanticized past of the older generation and the apathetic present. Characters like Cornel definitely nostalgia. Okay, anyway, so past glorious moments of Britain and future hopelessness of Britain. Both are there in the character's mind. Okay, these are some important questions from this. We will read. Like this. আসে এটা আসলে কেন পিপিটি থেকে সুন্দর ফাইল ছিল পিডিএফ এসে এরকম হয়ে গেল হ্যাঁ কিন্তু এটা কি আর কোনো ওয়ে আছে লাইক অ্যালাইনমেন্ট গুলো টিভিতে ঠিক আনার মতো পেজ ঠিক আছে বাট এখানে হচ্ছে না
attachment page found problem is
এটা তো ঠিক আছে পেজের অ্যালাইনমেন্ট কিন্তু নষ্ট হয় না জাস্ট টিভির সাথে অ্যালাইনমেন্ট নষ্ট হয়েছে ওকে এনিওয়েজ লেটস কন্টিনিউ These are some important questions. আমি আপনাদেরকে ফাইল দিয়ে দিব ডোন্ট ওয়ারি ঠিক আছে এই পিডিএফ ফাইলগুলো আমি দিয়ে দিব Discuss Jimmy Porter as an angry young man. Okay, so you have to discuss how he became an angry young man, why he became an angry young man. Okay, and how he represents the 20th century angry government or anger of the working class. Okay. How does Jimmy embody the frustration, disillusionment, and class resentment of post-war British youth? Explore his behavior, speeches, and emotional conflicts from these texts. Okay, how he behaves, how he talks, and what are his thoughts. Okay, analyze the theme of class conflict in Look Back in Anger. I have already given you the things. You can just follow that to explore, and you have to write in details. Okay, for 10 marks. Examine the significance of the title Look Back in Anger. I'm sorry, I forgot to make it Italic. Why look back? Okay, why look back? You have to find out why back. Okay, why not look forward in anger? Look in front with anger. Why look back? Okay, what is Jimmy angry about? Society, the past, his personal life. Does the play suggest any hope for change? Is there any hope for change? Okay, or the writing itself is an attempt of change. Explore the themes of emotional isolation and disconnection in the play. How do different characters deal with emotional pain? Like how is Jimmy dealing with this? Jimmy is verbally active, and this is how he is actually. You know, the students of 11th batch, I taught you about Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis. I said that verbally being aggressive, this is a way of, expressing the frustrations. Okay, and it also represents how he was born and brought up, his childhood. Okay, all these things. Okay, is Jimmy's anger a form of loneliness? How is silence used in the play to show emotional distance? Silence of Alison. I think that will be enough to explain this. Okay, she was silent for almost half of the book. She was not saying anything because she was feeling that if I express something, it will not be valued. Okay, so that's why she chose to be silent. Evaluate Look Back in Anger as a critic of 1950s British about class gender roles, emotional expression, and moral decay. Okay, this moral decay is really important. How it represents the moral decay. Okay, we saw different things that shocked us. We were not ready for that. Okay, but the writer is saying that's quite normal to them. Okay. Is Jimmy Porter a tragic hero or simply a bitter man? Do you think that life has done some tragedy with Jimmy Porter, or you think that he is just a random man who is bitter in mind and verbs? Okay, so you will just say that. Justify your answer. We can sympathize with him. Does he grow or change by the end of the play? Okay, so we can see, yes, he changed. Okay, after things are expressed, after the connection is settled again, then he actually changes. He was looking for some connections actually. Okay, so there are some lines and meaning আমি বলে দিয়েছি যেন আপনারা একটু সহজ করে দেখে নিতে পারেন, ঠিক আছে? আর আপনারা যখন এটা গুগলে সার্চ করবেন তখন একটু ডিটেইলস থাকবে। একটু কষ্ট করে এক্সপ্লেনেশনটা ভালো করে পড়ে আসবেন। That's really important. You will have 5 marks in explanation. Okay, and if you can answer properly in 3 paragraphs, introduction, conclusion, and then body paragraph, and if you can write the proper thing, proper placement, who said, how said, why said. Okay, if you can answer that, you will get a moderate mark. If your grammar is okay, then you will get 4.5. It's a good mark. Okay, so you should, huh? Okay, so these are the lines. These are the lines important, and you know everyone saying about Jimmy, like there's a line, very clear. He's like a man with a bond. So Jimmy is like a man who is hurt, who is wounded. Like যখন একটা ধর একটা প্রাণী যখন ব্যথা পায়, মনে করেন একটা সিংহ ব্যথা পেল, he will groan, ঠিক আছে? সে একটু চিৎকার করবে, ঠিক আছে? So জিমিকেও ওরকম wounded person হিসেবে দেখছে. Jimmy is like a man with a wound. When you have been hurt, you start caring less. Okay, so you are continuously hurt, so that's why you are expressive, you are verbally abusive, and you care less because you already is hurt. So Jimmy is thinking that I don't have anything to comfort Allison because Allison is already comforted. Throughout her life, she was in comfort, but I struggled a lot throughout my life. So that's why I have nothing to offer her. Okay, in terms of comfort. Okay. And what does Jimmy say about himself? Why do I always feel this righteous indignation? Why do I always feel I have been cheated? I have been cheated by the country system. We all feel the same to some extent, I think. There's about jobs, about stations, about you know, facilities for the country. We feel like we're not getting that. Okay? I want to stand up and shout, I'm not young, I'm not passionate, I'm not angry, I'm not anything, I'm just it. So he's saying that I'm not having any expression, I'm just expressionless. That's why I talk this and that, blah, blah, blah. My speaking, my words doesn't have any meaning because I'm just dead. There is no excitement at all. Okay, this is his opinion about himself. That I'm not having any hope, any expression, I'm just dead. Can you relate this to the poems that we all have read? Second coming, the Shield of Achilles, and then the Wasteland. People feel dead. People feel like we have no hope. I don't want to live. The only solution is what? Do you remember the story of Sybil? Said, I just want to die. Okay? They just want to change the things through death because mentally they are already dead. They're too frustrated to be alive again. Okay, that's pretty much it for look back in anger. কালকে আমরা অন্য কিছু করবো, ক্লাস 20th century কিছু পিকচার্স আছে যেটা আমি ফাইনাল টাচ দিয়ে দিব ফাইনালের জন্য।